Hi and welcome to cgboomer.com. My name is Hans Eriksson, and today we're going to continue on with our spindle chair. And so let me open up that file, and as you can see, it's exactly where we left off with a rather crude backrest. We're going to kind of work on that in a minute, but first we're going to work on these back spindles here and get those in place, and then when we extrude new spindles, we're going to use the new spindles to fix the backrest. So let me hit Control 1 to go into a back view, and let me grab that spindle there. Now I'm still on X-ray view, so let me kind of get rid of that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these two spindles. So I'm going to well, apparently they already are separated. I didn't think they were. So let me I've got a mirror modifier on. So let's go over to the modifier and let's go ahead and apply that. Alright, now I can go into here and I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. I'm going to come over to this one. I'm going to hit L, and I'm going to then hit P and separate that by selection. So now all we have left in the group is this one particular spindle. Go into object mode, and I'm going to add a new modifier, and I'm going to use an array modifier. And let me go ahead and now, as you can see, it added one, but it added it in the wrong direction. So let's go ahead and just kind of take this displacement key here, and let's kind of move it in the negative direction, and we'll move it to, just for guess, about that far. And now we're going to increase the count to right about there. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I want to take this peg and I want to make sure it's perfectly lined up on that axis there. So if I go into Z so I can kind of see through it a little bit, I can then come to this right here, and by holding Shift on my keypad, I can move it in a very fine direction and kind of line that thing up right in the center there. Alright, now I'm going to apply that modifier, and you can see it kind of went a little skewy, but if I hit S and X, I can, oops, too far. I can skew it S and X. I can skew it back to where it should be, right about there. And let's go back into solid view, and that looks pretty good, except that these are now not where they're supposed to be. So let me go into top view and tab, and I think what I want to do at this point is go ahead and hit L and then P and remove that one from the group. So now if I hit L, grab that one, go into top view, go to my enable my proportional editing tool, change that to sphere, then G, and go Y, and just kind of move that back to right. Let's see what that looks like there. Going to object view. I think I can go back just a little bit further. So let's go ahead and go back into edit view, G and Y, and move it back just a little bit further. Let's take a look, and that looks pretty even, so I think I'm going to call that as pretty good. Alright, now I want to produce spindles at the top, so let's go ahead and go into side view. At this point I'm going to change my orientation to local, and I'm going to go Shift D to duplicate those spindles, snap out of it, and then grabbing this arrow, I'm just going to grab it and move them up to where they are directly above, and because I change everything to local view, I'm still in that same orientation. So if I now hit 3 on my pad here, and I change to this widget here, this is one of the rare times we actually use this widget. I'm going to grab this right here, and everything should size and just kind of approximate it up. Now I kind of raise that bottom up a little bit, that's fine. Let's go ahead and change it back to this widget here, and let's grab it and move those down so it goes back into the bottom part of the rest. This is kind of a little bit trial and error. Let's change the widget back to here, and I want to get this top one right in, and grab this widget and kind of move it up. Alright, that may look kind of bad right now, but it's going to start looking a lot better here real soon. Okay, at this point I want to shape my headrest a little bit, so I'm going to grab the headrest, and I'm going to hit 7 on my noon pad, and I'm going to then hit tab to go into edit view, and let's hit A to deselect everything, and then I'm going to grab this top loop here by hitting tab and right click on that loop. I'm now going to get rid of that widget, and I'm going to change it back to global, and I'm going to go G. You notice I'm still in my spherical, and then Y, and let's move this back until I am in place. Let's take a look and see how it looks. That's centered up actually fairly well. Let's just move I just went a tad too far, so let's look at it from here. Let's G and Y and move it right about to there, and I think that's going to work pretty good for me. Alright, let's go into front view. Let's grab this loop right here, and let's go G. Let's kind of expand this up just a little bit. Well, no, hold on. Let's add some loops in here. Control R. let's put about 3 loops in there. There we go. Grab this loop and let's go G, X, and let's kind of broaden that out just a little bit. And good, that looks more like that looks a lot better. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's kind of got that little tilt back there. Looks like it's got a little bit of a wrap around and looks good. Alright, let's go one in my view here. Let's go ahead and change back to local. And we're going to grab these here. Now the center one looks just fine. The 2 outer ones need a little adjustment as well as these here. So let's go ahead and tab in. We'll hit A to deselect everything. L. Well, actually, let's A to deselect everything. Let's hit L here. And we're going to P, deselect that one by selection. We're going to then grab these 2 here, L and L, and P to deselect those 2, or P to separate those out, and then we're going to grab, let me see, if we go now, there we go. We're going to change our widget again. Let's put our widget in there. And you can see we're in our size tool, which is what we want. So let's go ahead and by hitting Shift, actually let's change to X-ray view so we can see a little bit better. You can see how we're way up in that area there. So let's hit Shift and then grab this top part of this widget, and let's just, well, I'm sizing the wrong direction here. Let me go Control Z. That's supposed to size that down. There I go. I must have hit something wrong. You can see I'm just kind of barely into the headrest, which is what I want. So if I hit this now and do the same thing, I grab this little widget here and kind of move those down. Let's go ahead and enable X-ray as well. My tips are just barely in. That's exactly what I want. And let's get out of X-ray view. Get rid of X-ray view there. And you can see we kind of got this little arc going right here, which is exactly what we want. Alright, excuse me, the 3-year-old, I had to pause the recording. The 3-year-old was asking for some cottage cheese, so I had to take a slight break there. But as you can see, we're actually looking pretty good there. Things are just about the way that we want it. The only other thing that I really want to do at this point is I want to grab this right here, go over to my modifier, and I want to apply my mirror. And as you can see, that took that little hump right out of the top there. It just looks tremendously better. Let's go ahead and grab this one here, and let's go ahead and apply that mirror as well. Grab this here, and let's apply the mirror. Let me see, is the seat mirrored? Yep, we'll go ahead and apply that. And we'll go ahead and apply that mirror. I'm just going to go through and make sure I've got all my mirror modifiers applied at this point. And We have this here. There's no mirrors on that one. This plane right down here was just a reference plane. Don't really need it anymore. It just kind of got our basic shape down. So I'm going to hit X and delete that. And we pretty much have a finished chair right here. Let me just check through and make sure I don't have any more mirror modifiers going. I don't see any. Nope. However, these right here actually could all be put together. Let's go ahead and hit, let's go ahead and save. And let's go ahead and hit Control J and make those all one deal there. And that says chair leg spindle, so we'll kind of clean that up and kind of backspace here, and we'll go chair backrest. Oops, sorry, STSPINDLES spindles. This is correct. Let's drop this down a little bit so I can see it. That just says circle. So let's change that by hitting Control and left click, and we'll go CHR backrest. You may wonder why prefix everything with CHR, and that's because everything that has to do with the actual model of the chair I want all in one line. If you don't, you're going to end up with it sitting between camera and, excuse the Skype there. I'm getting somebody wanting to add me to their Skype list, and it's probably porn, so I'll X that out and take care of that later. I could combine all of this right here, but I don't want to because when I go to texture this all, it's going to be hard to do a layout, UV layout for it, so I really just kind of want to leave these separate for right now. Let me grab these here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, this one, this one. Is that still on a modifier? No, okay. Grab this, 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 and let's go Control J, and let's make those all one. Oh, I forgot one. Let's go ahead and grab that, hit Control J, and let's make all those just one unit. And we will call this one, I'll call those seat spindles. Chair SEATSPINDLES. Okay, this object here, chair seat 1, chair seat, I'll call that chair seat spindle base for lack of better things. So let's chair seat spindle SPIND spindle base. Alright, what's this one here? That needs to be chair. Seeing we made that from the seat itself, we'll go ahead and call this chair armrest. And it looks like I got everything else kind of named right. Chair leg spindles, we can actually add that one as well, and we can go Control J and hit Control and just take the word support out, and that is as far as combining as I want to go at this moment. The only other thing I would really want to do at this point is I want to hit Shift S, and I'm going to go cursor to center, and then go Object, Transform, and Origin to 3D Cursor. Let's go ahead and grab this and do the same thing, Object, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor. I'll grab this one, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor. I'll grab these spindles here, Object, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor. And I don't need pivot points or anything else anymore, so I'm just going to put all the objects so that it's all in the origins are all in the same place. Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor, and again Object, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor. And I would say at this point we are pretty much ready to go ahead and start texturing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the texturing process. And the one thing I'm going to do here is, before I even move into that, I'm going to make sure that I'm in global view here. Excuse me. And I think what I want to do is start with these legs here. Now, if I select everything and just go ahead and hit U, unwrap, and do Smart Project, you're going to see, let me move over to UV editing, that it really does kind of a crappy job. So I really need to go ahead and mark seams on these. So let me go ahead and go back to default here, and I'm going to set up and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here, and right here on the back side I'm going to hit Alt and click that like that. Now I don't really want it to unwrap like it's showing right here, so going into line mode here, I'm going to just shift and click and take that one out. I'm going to go ahead and mark seam. Okay, now what I want to do is I want this to flay out this way, and I want this flap, I want this to flap out. So I need to go ahead and mark a seam continuously around here except for one line, let's say right over here. So I'm going to hit Shift and Alt and grab that line, grab these, making sure that I grab that one loop there. Let me kind of zoom here, turn this direction, and Shift Alt, grab this, and grab that. And my one deal is way over here, so I'm just going to shift and click right there and go ahead and hit Mark Seam. So now if I go ahead and hover over this one area here and hit L to just highlight that one group there, and if I just hit U and just unwrap, we can go over to UV editing, and you can see that that unwraps a whole lot better. So I'm going to do that with these other 3 legs here. It's a little tedious, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording so I'm not taking a lot of time with it. These other struts here will work extremely fast and easy, so I'll be right back with you when I got these other 3 legs laid out. Okay, I'm back, and you can see I had marked all these seams here. These seams for these other cross legs are going to be extremely easy. Seeing there's no real end cap on it, I'm just going to kind of go from the bottom here so that the seams are less visible. And I'm going to hit Alt, click there, and then Shift Alt click here, move this over, and choose a seam at the bottom, and Alt and Shift right click, and then all I have to do is hit Mark Seam. Now if I hit A to select everything, I hit U to unwrap, and then I go over to my UV editing. You can see that everything just laid out tremendously better. A little crooked right there, but not a big deal. It tries to do the best that it can. However, this particular one will be facing the wrong direction. So let me hit L on this one. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. Oops, I'm still in proportional editing. Bad move. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. And I'm just going to grab it and move it somewhere over here. And I'll rearrange all this a little later on, but you can see it's because the texture I'm going to use is pretty wide. I'll be able to kind of straighten all this up a lot better. But you can see it's laying out tremendously better. I'm much happier. So let me save the file where I'm at, and let me go back to default, and let me save one more time, and we'll continue on now with the rest of these spindles here, which again will be extremely easy. I'm just going to kind of go into solid view here. And if I remember right, these probably have bottoms on them, and they really don't need bottoms. So let me grab these. I'm going to move these to a separate layer for right now. I'm going to go to that layer and go into view here. And I'm right, they all have bottoms on them, so I'm just going to go ahead and just go X and delete that vertice. And let me kind of zoom in here, grab that, X, delete that vertice. This should only take a second. Grab this, X, and delete that one vertice. Grab that, X, delete that vertice. X, delete vertice. X, and delete that. Almost done. X, delete. X and delete. And I think I just have the one more, which is right here. X and delete. Alright, let me go back into solid view and move. Let me see, got everything selected. I do. Let's go ahead and move that back to that first layer. Let's go into here. And now I'm just going to kind of choose towards the back side of each one of these a loop. And so we can flay these out. So let me go into view here and hit Alt and grab that loop. Then go Shift, Alt, grab that one, grab this one, grab that one, grab that one, grab this one, grab this one, grab that one, and I believe I only have the one more, so I'll grab that one and I'll go ahead and mark seam. And now that one's done. Now I'm going to have the same problem up here with these because these have got bottoms on them as well, and just really don't need them seeing they're in the wood. So let's go ahead and move these to a separate layer just for editing, and go to that layer and kind of zoom in here, hit tab, and let's grab that vertice, X, delete that vertice, X, delete that vertice, X, delete that vertice, and then X, delete that vertice, one more, X and delete that vertice, and let me go back into object view, move that back to that layer there. Let's go to that layer and hit Control 1 to get into a back view. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can see. Hit Shift, or hit Tab, and let's grab one from the back side here. So we'll go Alt and grab that loop. Let's get rid of the very annoying widget. Shift Alt and then click, grab that loop, grab that loop, grab that loop, and grab that loop, and then mark seam. And I believe that is all the very annoying spindles. So let me alright, what I have left now is the chair, this little piece here, the armrest in the back. So let's go ahead and get started on those. Quite frankly, the rest of everything here seemed to actually work fairly well with Smart Project. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that seat, grab everything, hit U and Smart Project. We'll show you the projection here in just a little bit. Tab, hit All, and U and Smart Project. Go back into object mode, grab this here, Shift, tap A twice to grab everything, U and Smart Project. Go back to object view, go ahead and edit, double tap A twice, U, Smart Project, and we have all our UVs now laid out. So let's go ahead and start texturing. Now the texture I'm going to use is the same one that I used for my record player. I may darken it up a little bit, but let's just see how it goes first. The very first thing we really need to do is just set up some real basic lights. I'm not, like I say, this is not a lighting tutorial. Lighting will be done much later. I'm going to grab my camera and I'm just going to kind of move it over to here. Let's rotate it just a little bit, go into side view and grab it and bring it way down to right about there. Rotate it just a little bit. Let's take a look and see how it looks. Go over to here and I'm going to change this to 1024 by 1024. I'm going to bump my all the way up. Going to scroll way down here and I'm going to change my default to JPEG. And then let me see, if I just hit Shift F, I can kind of, by using my scroll mouse, I can just do a fly method here to kind of zoom in and G to kind of center that up just a tad more, and Shift F, maybe just zoom in just a touch more, Shift F, right there. Alright, let me go back into top view. I'm going to grab this lamp here, G, grab it, move it somewhat behind into the side of my camera. I'll go into side view, G, and move it way down. Let's go ahead and turn it into a sun. I'm going to rotate it to right there. I am going to decrease the distance on it. Actually, to do that, I'm going to have to change it to a area first. And let's just shorten the distance up quite a bit. I want to shorten the distance before I have fall off. Whoops, way too far. Let me zoom in here. And I'm going to run the distance right to the camera. Let's go to sun, 0, see how that looks. 7, rotate it just a little bit more that way, 1, okay, that doesn't look too bad. 7, I'm just going to kind of change the glow a little bit to a kind of a warm pink, and I'm going to Shift D and then grab it and move it to over here for a little bit of a fill lamp, rotate it around, and let's turn off the specular, and then Shift D and grab that and let's set it over here, rotate that around. Whoa, come on, rotate, rotate, there we go. And I think I'm going to change that one to a Hemi. And I'm going to take its energy down to, let's say, 0.75. I think that's what I want. And now if I go into textured mode and then drop down here to display and make sure that I am out of multi-texture and into GLSL because I'm going to be using. Alright, that looks terrible, so let me go ahead and change that back to a sun. And you can see instantly that I've got some problems here. I got these black splotches, and the reason for that is let me get right in here. The reason for that is my normals are turned the wrong direction. So let me tab into Object or into Edit. I'm going to recalculate the normals on that, and you see that improved immediately. Grab that, and it's all highlighted, and so I'm going to recalculate those normals, and looks like everything's good now. So let's start with the spindles first, these bottom spindles. Let's grab those. Let's hit, well, first of all, let's just go ahead and add a material. We'll go new and we'll call it, whoops, get rid of that. Hold on here. File, save, file, open recent. There we go. Now we should have no materials in there. We don't. So I'm just going to hit new, and I'm going to click this, and I'm going to call this wood. And I want to decrease the intensity a little bit, and let's run our intensity, our specular intensity, down to about 0.2 and the other intensity up. And let's then go over to our texture panel there. We're going to hit new, and image or movie. We're going to open up work in progress, old dog, A21, vid files, and if you see, I've already brought in a familiar texture, fine wood color. We're going to grab it and open that up, and you can see it instantly applied, terribly, but it instantly applied. Okay, let's go ahead and slip over to the UV editing panel here. I'm going to change this from perspective to ortho, and all I have to do is go to textured mode here, and if I slip into, let's go U and unwrap, let's go ahead and bring in that right there. I want all my spindles to follow that grade right there, which most of them are except for this one. So if I hit rotate and 90, I can do that. Let me just go ahead and grab it and move it all the way over to here. I'm going to deselect all this, and I'm going to box select all of these here, and I'm going to go G and X and kind of move those over to right there. I'm going to hover here and hit L and G, and I'm going to go ahead and just, let's go ahead and size that down just a little bit, like yay, G and X, and just kind of move that in there. Let's hit, okay, that doesn't look too bad. I think the specular is just a little up too high, so let's go back over to materials there, and let's run that specular down just a little bit, and maybe run the hardness up just a little bit, and okay, I'm liking that a lot better. Let's go rename this here to fine wood, and color. Let's open up an extra texture slot. We'll hit image or movie again. We're going to add a detail map in now. So go right back over to CG Boomer projects. And let me try something here. Let me hit cancel. I'm going to go file, make all paths relative. There we go. Now let's go over here and try opening now, and it still didn't do what I wanted to do. So we'll go work in progress, go to day 21, my vid files, textures, and I want to hit the detail map. I'm going to open that up. I can use that very same layout because I've already got that same texture multiplied numerous times. So all I'm going to do is go to overlay, and I'm going to run that color down to, let's say, 0.55. That'll be good. Let's just go 0.5. Oops, and I got to map it to UV. There we go. Alright, finally, I'm going to run up here, and I'm going to call this find wood, and detail. Lastly, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to add a new image or movie. I'm going to go open. CG Boomer projects, work in progress. Go there, go here, vid files, textures, and I want to choose my NOR map. I'll open that up. We want to go UV, click normal map, deselect color, and add it to geometry. Let me kind of move in here to see how that affected it. Okay, good, good. Happy with that. And that pretty much takes care of those spindles. So let's go ahead and move to these spindles. Whoops. Move to these spindles here. And let's go ahead and select it all and hit U. Oops. A to select everything. U. Unwrap. You can see everything unwrapped exactly the wrong direction. So let's go ahead and rotate all this 90. And let's box select. Well, first of all, let's clear all that. Let's box select well, hold on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's box select these 4. Let me see, first of all, just grab that one and then box select the rest here. And I'm just going to grab those and move those over to here. I'm going to select this one and move this G over to here, and I'm going to clear all that, and I'm going to B box select all of those, and G move those up to here, and I've got it all pointing in the right direction now. So if I go over to my texture panel here, well, actually all I really need to do at this point, seeing I got it all laid out, is go in here and select wood, and all my textures should be applied just fine. Alright, good. I'm running rather slowly here. Let's go File and let's save that, because I got a feeling I might be losing something here. I'll come over to here. Let's go ahead and add that texture and tab into Edit View, All to select, U to unwrap, and you can see everything unwrapped the wrong direction again, so I'm going to hit Rotate and 90. I'm going to scale it on the Y to right about there. Let's G and Y to kind of move it up on the Y, and let's scale it on the X direction to right about like that, and let's accept that. And that worked out pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and keep saving, because my machine seems to be bogging down and I can just tell I'm about ready to crash here. So let me select this, and again I'm going to hit Wood, and as I said before, I was going to use Smart Project, but you can see it laid out very well for here, but it's the sides that didn't lay out well. So let's go ahead and take, let me go in here and find wood color. Let's grab B to box select that, and let's box select this here. Let's rotate these 90 degrees. G to move that right about there. Let's go ahead and hit L just to grab this one here. G, and move that down to right about there. Tab into mode there, and that should have fixed it, and it doesn't look like it did. Let me go ahead and hit U, unwrap, Smart Project. B to box select this right here. Rotate it 90 degrees. G, L, G, and tab in. And I'm not sure why that didn't work, but I'm going to come right back and see what I can do to fix it. Okay, I found the problem, and the problem was real simple. I forgot to click a little button here under Find Wood Color. I forgot to click, it left it at Generated instead of Map to UVs. So now if I hit, there we go, U, Smart Project, and now if I rotate 90 degrees, and then let's just go ahead and move this up to right about there, hit L and G, and move that down to there. Now click in, you can see that that just looks tremendously better. Sometimes I can prove to the world I'm not very smart. Let's hurry up here. Let's grab this object here. As you can see, let me go into this view here and grab wood, and let's see how this maps to fine wood color. And you can see I have the same problem there, so I need to take this, and let's just kind of move this up here. Let me see, rotate 90, and I can just kind of set this right in there. Let's hit L, and well, actually, let's box select the rest of this here, and then rotate 90, and then G, and I can also move that right there. Let's L here, and let's go G and move this to right here. Let's hit L and G and move that right there, and L and G, move this right about here, and let's L here, and then let's box select the rest here and rotate 90, and then G to move that out a little bit. Okay, let's deselect everything by hitting A. Oops, let's hit B to box select all this right here. Let's rotate 90, and G, we can move it right about there, and move in, and that pretty much got everything moving about the way I want it. This looks like it's been kind of carved out of one piece of wood, so let's go ahead and grab this here. Let's hit Tab. We're going to have the same problems that we had before, so let's just go ahead and take care of that right now. Let's hit L here and G, and I'll just move that to right about here. Well, actually no, let's hit this G, let's move it right over to here. Let's box select all of this here, and then let's rotate it 90, and G, I can move it right there, and let's hit L and Shift L, and whoops, and Shift L, G to move it here. Let's rotate it 90, and then G to move it right there, and let's hit L and Shift L, grab that, let's rotate that 90, and click that there. Let's go ahead and grab it, and I'll move it all right here. Let's box select by hitting B and G, move it right to there. Now if I go to here, and I'll assign it to wood, and we should be good to go there. Finally, I just have this one last piece here. Let's go ahead and assign it, and Tab, and I can see right now that if I just rotate everything, I should be correct. So let me go ahead and give that a shot. Let's hit U, let's hit all, and then rotate 90, and tab back. Alright, I'm going to be okay with that. So let me get in here. Let's go over to the world here, and let's go for a blend sky, and let's run a little brighter and kind of bring out a little blue here. And let's just get a quick picture of this. And I got a couple nasty shadows in there. I'll be right back while I kind of well, actually, no, I'll just kind of take care of that. This isn't going to be a lighting tutorial. This is only going to be a modeling and texturing tutorial or session. My lighting will be taken care of in another session when I go to put my scenery together. So I'm going to end it at this point because we're really getting into some time here. But pretty basically, this is my finished product for my spindle chair. I'll eventually have to create another one for this chair to morph into something a little more techno or new, because this is all part of old things becoming new. So here's my old thing, and I'll eventually have to make a new thing. But I want to thank you again for joining me in this session. As always, this model at the state of this tutorial is available at cgboomer.com. And again, this is Hans Eriksson with cgboomer.com, and thank you for joining me, and happy blending.